Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
All right, Ryan, it is time to go dancing. Yeah, something with it. I know I have been waiting for since that Paige Becker's injury and since she has made such a great comeback. And man, now we are excited. I am excited. I'm sure everybody else is for the rest of the players on this Huskies roster, Ryan on this St. Patrick's Day, Selection Sunday in the books as we come on and see everyone around 11:30 on this Sunday night. We hope that everyone catches this video tomorrow, Ryan. A couple things, or tonight, a couple things to lay out on the line here. This is officially the first last check-in in a long time. All right, go figure that. Don't forget predictions. Please remind me if I forget at the end. Not only that, Ryan, I can't wait to see the atmosphere. And, I had to go back very quickly to see what you think about all this. Last check in, a lot on your plate. I'm sorry to bring it all to you this late at night. I know you're ready for bed, but last check in, first time for a while. You have finally announced Jackson State will face number 3 UConn in the women's first round. Not only that, Ryan, congratulations to all the men's and women's teams and their fan base, the team programs, if they made it to the big dance. If not, well, maybe next year. And on top of that, Ryan, I know some of the busiest spots near your house and my house up here in Maryland would be downtown Frederick. I know I had to shout out to man, all these beautiful people will be coming out this week and all the way leading up to what the first week in April. They bring out their shiny Nike Jordan shoes. They bring out their flashy shirts, their nice 200 300 $400 pair of blue jeans. I know I'm taking it too far, Ryan, but what's your thought about all this, man? Because again, I love to see the atmosphere, and it's not even might not even be specifically Maryland teams in the big dance. I know Maryland women made it, but what do you think about it? It's finally arrived, and I know Frederick and we might as well say the whole nation, man, we're going to be on high alert for the next 2 weeks. And I think most importantly, this is going to be a special run for these Huskies.
Well, I mean, it really is one of the best times of the year, if not one of the best days out of the whole entire year, especially if you're just a sports fan, more importantly, a college basketball fan. But yeah, a lot of exciting stuff happening around this time of the year. So, very, very excited to talk about it. But of course, like you said, UConn comes in at a number 3 seed. They are in the Portland 3 region. Not really a surprise to me, at least. I was kind of expecting them to be a number 3 seed. I think it suits them pretty well. I think the committee got it pretty right on that when the opponent is Jackson State from the Southwestern Athletic Conference. A good defensive team, good rebounding team. Not the best offensive team, though, so I'm really expecting that Husky defense to really lock down Jackson State and not really allow them to get anything going in this game. And of course, with both games being in Gamble Pavilion, of course, if UConn does make it to the second round, first and second round games are both in Gamble Pavilion. So, like you kind of mentioned, I know that atmosphere will be electric, probably sold out crowd. So that's really going to help UConn get past hopefully these first and second round matchups. So looking further down into the bracket, possibly a matchup with Syracuse in the next round, in the second round, possibly seeing Ohio State again in the Sweet 16, and what a matchup that would be, playing the same team in the same round as last year, in which, of course, UConn did lose. So maybe a really, really big revenge game, hopefully, for UConn in that one. Looking further down into the bracket in the Elite Eight, a possible matchup with the 1 seed USC, and probably getting ahead of myself, but I just love going down the bracket, seeing all the possible matchups. But in the Final Four, UConn could possibly see another number 1 seed in Iowa, maybe the 2 seed UCLA, maybe even the 3 seed LSU. So, like I said, a lot of exciting stuff happening. It is March Madness. I can't wait for these games to start. First game, I believe, is 12 o'clock noontime on Saturday for UConn.
Yeah. Man, and we will be right back here with you all for, obviously, Ryan. Every recap is just that much more bigger, right? Going down the stretch. How about this? I always like to shout out to Maggie Bononi. Does an incredible job on social media, and then incredible job just covering the team overall. Ryan, she said it's official. UConn women's basketball is a number 3 seed in the Portland 3 regional. First time since 2005, third time ever, UConn has been a number 3 seed. And then, of course, Huskies will open the tournament in Stores versus number 14, Jackson State. Just goes to show, Ryan, I mean, just briefly comment, if you would, about how dominant this team has been. But again, to say the least, and again, this is new territory for not only you and I, we haven't even been covering this team that long on this podcast, about 3-4 years maybe. But yet again, this is kind of new territory for people that's been Huskies fans for, I don't know, what do you want to say, 15, 20 years? I mean, because again, first time since 05, third time ever, UConn has been a number 3 seed.
Yeah, it is a little bit of uncharted territory, but I think you could kind of say that about these past 2 or 3 years. So many obstacles that UConn's had to overcome, and perhaps another obstacle. UConn's only going to have 8 available players when Aaliyah does decide to come back. Gino announced earlier today Amari DeBerry will not be available for the whole entirety of the NCAA tournament. So a little disappointing for Amari. Not really sure if she would have seen a lot of playing time, of course, but it does only leave UConn back down to just 8 available players for the whole entire tournament. So there's a lot of key play. Obviously, everybody is really important to this team now. All the healthy players, but Masked Aaliyah is back, of course, so she'll be wearing the mask. Hopefully, she does just as good as she did last season while wearing it. I'm sure she will. But Ice Brady, definitely a player I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully, she can continue the momentum from the Big East tournament. She's really gonna have to step up when Aaliyah does go to the bench, or of course, like I said, maybe possibly playing alongside Aaliyah in the lineup. But hopefully, Paige keeps doing her thing. But yeah, it should be really, really exciting.
All right, let's go over to some comments, Ryan, and then Ryan, we will have to get into predictions, something that everybody loves to hear about. Although sometimes you and I are close, other times not good at all. But I don't know. I have a feeling that what we're turning to this time around. Adam Edmonds says, if Sarah chooses UConn, this is interesting. Going back to our last episode, if Sarah chooses UConn, which I hope she does, our 15 roster spots will be full, meaning that we could not keep Aaliyah or sign anyone from the transfer portal unless someone else transfers out. And he was speaking about Sarah Strong. That's very interesting, right? Because how many times that's new territory. Talk about new territory for everybody. I mean, it looks like the roster is starting to finally complete itself, something that you and I are not used to seeing.
Yeah, I did see that. So, it kind of would be interesting, hopefully we can have all 15 players completely healthy going into the season and for the most part staying healthy. That would be, even more exciting and more of a boost to the lineup, of course. But yeah, I mean, hopefully obviously Sarah does choose UConn. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be nice to see a full 15 roster, to the max. But of course, like I said, I think the most important thing is keeping everybody healthy. Of course, UConn did have 14 players this season, but what's it leave? Eight players, I believe, who are out unavailable. So definitely disappointing for the last couple years, but it would be really, really nice to see an all healthy lineup.
The disruptive one. I think UConn fans should feel better today than we did yesterday. Even if UConn misses, at least LSU and South Carolina won't be the beneficiaries. It's true, Ryan. So even if she does not choose UConn, She's not going to LSU or South Carolina, right? On the other hand, both UNC and Duke have beaten out UConn on targets recently, losing another player, especially to Duke. That will be a hard pill to swallow. It is hard to imagine it would be UNC, but maybe Strong views that program as a sleeping giant. Yeah, and I did watch another video, Ryan, earlier this morning when I woke up, or this evening rather. Crazy schedule, right? But anyhow, I woke up and I did see where someone else predicted, like they had 100% confidence that Sarah Strong would go to UConn when it's all said and done.
Yeah, like I said, I don't want to get my hopes up, but I am very, very hopeful that she will choose UConn. But, I was really surprised to not see South Carolina in her final three. Like I said, considering all of the talk about, her already pretty much going, or the likely landing spot would be South Carolina. But yeah, I thought it was interesting, not really other than UConn, a team in her final three, not in the top 10, top 15. But I think Duke would be an interesting spot. Also not too sure about North Carolina, but obviously, hopefully, she does in the end decide to become a Husky.
All right, one more. Gary Roundtree. Hi, I don't know. It looks like Duke, where she will end up at staying home with family. Geno's stay on her, and it's not going to be easy for her to leave her family.
Yeah, that is a very good point, and that probably that probably is the reason why Duke is in her final three. Yeah, I think it's been tough the past couple years losing out on a couple of these women who are in the top five, top 10 recruits that are play the forward center position. I think UConn's lost out on a couple of them the past couple years. So hopefully we can finally get one to come to UConn.
And on top of that, just to cap it off, Bon Riley says, I can't see what you two like so much with Amari. I'm sure she's a great person, but hasn't done nothing, but has not done anything, excuse me, basketball wise, for 3 years. And she will do nothing next year. Well, Ryan, it's not a good way to look at it, but, to put my a different hat on here, it looks like it's time for you and I to break out our investigative journalism caps, right? Get on down into it and investigate what the heck is going on. No, I'm just kidding. That's not our job, Ryan. All right, let's get into predictions and then we will head on out. Oh my. Oh goodness. UConn easily. UConn easily, Ryan. UConn Huskies win this one by a final score, Ryan, on Saturday. Can't wait to join you right back here for that recap. I'm going 90-62. Yeah, I like a blowout, like 90-62, a blowout. UConn all over Jackson State.
Yeah, I think I have kind of a similar score. I'm going to go UConn 94, Jackson State 65, I'll say. But like we said before, of course it is March Madness. They call it that for a reason. Anything can happen. But yeah, I am really excited to be watching both of the tournaments. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets for the men and for the women. So it definitely should be really exciting.
And they were talking about the side of the bracket UConn is in. There's a lot of ballers, right? I mean, they I called the videos and they were saying about nothing but each name, nickname, even though we call her Paige Buckets, but all the other players, Buckets, they were naming. I thought about you, how you would smile at this, going down the list, right, of games and the players in each game in the on this side of the bracket that UConn is in. Every game, but at least one player that has buckets, buckets, right? On and on, buckets. So, hey, I've kept my promise up, Ryan. I'm not touching that picture anytime soon for you and everyone else. And Ryan, I will see you back here maybe again sometime later this week, but definitely on Saturday. As Ryan, it is time to go dancing on Listen Up. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.